Lesson 19 is on polygons. And remember, poly means many, gon means side. So polygon is a closed shape with straight sides, and it's got at least 3 sides to it. Question number 1 says, 1 pack of trading cards sells for $1.12. How much would 7 packs sell for? So this is equal groups. The number of groups is 7, and each one then costs $1.12. So if I do 7 times 1, 12. 7 times 1 is $7. And then 7 times 12, well, 7 times 10 is 70 cents. And then 7 times 2 is 14 cents. So 7 times $1.12 is $7.84. In the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City, Bob Beamon broke Ralph Boston's long jump record by leaping 890 centimeters. The former record was 835 centimeters. How much greater was Beamon's record than Boston's record? So this is a comparing. What you do with a comparing problem is you take the greater number, which is 890, and then you subtract the lesser number, which is 835. So 890 minus 835, well, 35 plus 5 would give me 40, and 40 plus 50 gives me 90, so 55 centimeters is the difference. Carrie had 17 bottles in her collection. Some friends gave her more. Now Carrie has 33 bottles. How many bottles did her friends give her? So this is a combining problem. So she had some, then she added on more, and now she has a total of 33. So the question is 17 plus what gives me 33? Well, the more must be 16, because 17 plus 16 gives us 33. So her friends gave her 16 bottles. Kim swam 1 kilometer in 40 minutes. The length of the pool was 25 meters. How long did it take Kim to swim each length? So 25 meters and 1 kilometer is 1,000. So over here, 1 kilometer equals 1,000 meters. And each length was 25, which means for every 4 lengths, she was swimming 100 meters. So 4 lengths. So then we would need 10 100 meters to get to 1,000. So 40 lengths. So she did 40 lengths in 40 minutes, which is pretty simple math. 40 divided by 40 is 1. So 1 minute per length. What is the mean of the prime numbers between 10 and 20? Well, so 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And now we go through and I cross out the ones that are not prime. 10's not prime, it's divisible by 2. So it's 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. 11 is prime, 13 is prime, 15 is divisible by 5. 17 and 19 are prime. So now the question is asking, what is the mean of 11, 13, 17, and 19? Well, 13 and 17 is 30. 11 and 19 is 30. So the total is 60. And there are 4 prime numbers, so divided by 4, let's see, is 15. Sketch a number line and plot the approximate location of the following points. So we have -2, One, two, three. Then we have the absolute value of -3, which has a value of 3. So that's over there. And then 1/2. And then the square root of 2. So square root of 2 is going to be close to 1, because the square root of 1 is 1. And then the square root of 2 would be 4. Square root, here we go. Square root of 4 is 2. So square root of 2 is going to be closer to square root of 1, in between 1 and 2. Use prime factorization to reduce 375 over 1,000. So 375, let's see, 25, so 4, 12, 15. And then 15 is 3 and 5. 25 is 5 and 5. And then 1,000 is 110. 100 is 10 and 10. 10 is 5 and 2. 5 and 2. 5 and 2. So this turns into 3 times 5 times 5 times 5 over 2 times 2 times 2 times 5 times 5 times 5. So we have common 5s. And then we have 3 over 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. So 3/8. Compare 4 and 7 halves. Well, 6 halves would be 6 divided by 2, which is 3. And then we have an extra half, so this is 3.5. So 4 is bigger than 3.5. And then the square root of 49 asks the question, what number times itself gives us 49? Well, 7 times 7 is 49, so that one's equal. Alright, now we're going to simplify. Remember, when you're adding fractions, you need to have a common denominator. So the multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50. The multiples of 9 are 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, and I can see 45 is common. So I'm going to take 1/5 and turn it into something over 45. To go from 5 to 45, I multiply by 9. To go from whatever I do to the top, I need to do to the, or whatever I do to the bottom, I need to do to the top. So 1 times 9 is 9. And then 4/9 I'm going to turn into something over 45. So to go from 9 to 45, I multiply by 5. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 4 times 5 is 20. So now my problem becomes 9 over 45 plus 20 over 45. 9 plus 20 is 29. And then 45 stays on the bottom. So 29/45. Alright, I know that 2 is a multiple of 10, so I can change the 1/2 into something over 10, and then I can leave the 10 alone. To go from 2 to 10, I multiply by 5. So then 1 times 5 gives me 5. So then my problem becomes 5/10 minus 1/10. 5 minus 1 is 4 over 10. Since both numbers are even, I divide by 2 on the top and the bottom, and I end up with 2/5. Write a fraction and a decimal equivalent to 40%. So 40% as a decimal is pretty easy to do. If you don't see a decimal point when you're looking, it's at the far right-hand side, so it's right here. To turn it back into a decimal, you move the decimal point 2 places to the left, so it would be 0.40. And then I could also say, well, this is the same as 0.4, and this is in the tenths position, so that would be 4/10. And as we just saw in the previous problem, 4/10 is the same thing as 2/5, because I divide the top and the bottom by 2. Compute 150% of 70. So I'm going to look at this in 2 separate pieces. I'm going to say I want 100% of 70, and I want 50% of 70. Well, 100% of 70 just means all of it, so all 70. And then 50% of 70 means half of 70. Half of 70 is 35. So 70 and 35 is 105. So 150% of 70 is $105. Express with exponents means when we see multiple of the same number or letter, we're going to use an exponent. So y times y times y times y is, there's 4 y's, so y to the 4th. And then 3 times x times x times y times x times y. I have 1, 2, 3 x's, so x to the 3rd, or x cubed, and 1, 2 y's. So y to the 2nd, or y squared. 3 coordinates of a rectangle are 0, 4, 2, 4, and 2, -3. Find the 4th coordinate and the area and perimeter of the rectangle. So if I set up a little graph over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0, 4 means I don't go left or right, and then I go up 4. So that's going to be here. And then 2, -3 means I go over to the right 2, and then down 3. Oh, and 2, 4. So I go to the right 2 and up 4. So if I'm going to finish this rectangle, I would bring it over here. So that point is 0, -3. And now, if I want to find the dimensions, this side is 1, 2 spaces, and then the height of it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces. So the perimeter, we add them all up. 2 plus 7 plus 2 plus 7. 14 and 4 is 18 units. That's the perimeter. And then area, we multiply length times width. So 2 times 7 is 14 units squared. Since they don't give us a measurement, we just call them units, and the area is going to be squared, whatever your units are. 2 to the 5th means I'm going to multiply 2 by itself 5 times. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. 10 to the 6th, the trick when I'm doing tens is the exponent is how many zeros come after the 1. So 10 to the 6th means a 1 with 6 zeros after it. Square root of 144 means what number times itself gives me 144. That should be one that you just know. 144 is 12 squared. So the square root of 144 is 12. 12 inches squared. Well, we just talked about that 144 is 12 squared. So it's going to be 144 from the 12 squared. And then the units will be squared as well. 8 cubed means 8 times 8 times 8. 8 times 8 is 64. And then 64 times 8, let's see, 64 times 2 would be 128. 128 and 128 is 256. And 128 is 384. Let's double check that. Oh, I needed another 256. So let's try that again. 8 times 8 is 64, and then 64 times 8. 32. 8 times 6 is 48, plus 3 is 51. So 512. Cubed root of 8 asks the question, what number times itself 3 times equals 8? So we'll start with an even number. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So 2 cubed is 8, so the cubed root of 8 is 2. What is the quotient when 30 squared is divided by the product of 5 and 6? So we have 30 squared divided by 5 times 6. So 30 squared is 9 with 2 zeros after it, because it's 30 times 30. So 3 times 3 is 9, and then I have 2 zeros. And then 5 times 6 is 30. Well, 900 divided by 30 is 30. So the quotient is 30. An area of the playground will be seeded with grass and fenced until the grass grows in. Use this information in the figure to answer problems 22 and 23. The grass seed needs to cover how many square meters? So they're asking us, what is the area of this shape? So if this whole side here is 20 and this side is 10, that tells me that this is also 10. And if this whole side here is from 16 and 14, that means this whole side here is 30. So now I'm going to divide the shape into two rectangles, because that's how I can calculate area, as if there's two rectangles. I'm going to do this one. So the area of this is 10 times 14, which is 140, and the area of this is 10 times 30, which is 300. So area is 140 plus 300, which is 440 meters squared. Since we're talking about area, it's the units squared. And then the second question asks how many meters of fencing are needed to surround the area. So now they're talking about perimeter. So we have 14 plus 20 plus 30 plus 10 plus 16 plus 10, and I think that's it. So 10 and 10 is 20, and 20 and 20 is 40, and then plus 30 is 70, and then 14 and 16 is another 30, so that's 100 meters. Solve by inspection. Select one equation and write a word problem to match. Alright, so solve by inspection means look at the problem and find out what number could replace the variable, the letter, and make the statement true. So 72 is equal to 36 plus some number. Well, 36 plus 36 would give me 72. 6 plus 6 is 12, 3 is 6, and 1 is 7. So that checks out. W minus 11, so what number when you subtract 11 from it do you get 39? So I think that it will be 50. So 50 minus 11. 10 minus 1 is 9. 4 minus 1 is 3. 39. That one checks out. What number, when you multiply it by 7, do you get 56? Well, 7 times 8 is 56. And the last one there, what number when you divide, or 72 divided by what number equals 8? Well, 72 divided by 9 equals 8. Because 8 times 9 equals 72. Now, for the word problem, I will give you an example. I want you to come up with your own. So let's say the ice skates I want are on sale for $11 off. The sale price is $39. What is the original price? Now again, write your own word problem. This is good practice. So pick something other than problem 25 to write a word problem for. Estimate the distance covered by a car traveling at 62 miles per hour for 3 hours. So estimate means I'm going to round, 3 hours and 50 minutes. Estimate means I'm going to round. So 62 miles an hour, I'm going to say is 60 miles per hour. And 3 hours, 50 minutes, I'm going to say is 4 hours. So 60 miles per hour times 4 hours gives me 24 with a 0 at the end. So 24 miles. 240 miles, excuse me. All rectangles are also parallelograms. The formula for the area of a parallelogram is area equals base times height. Find A when B is 7 millimeters and H is 9 millimeters. So area is base, which is 7, times height, which is 9. 7 times 9 is 63. And then since it's area, it's the units squared. The number 0 is a member of which of these sets of numbers? Integers. Remember, those are what you see on the number line, positive, negative, and 0. Whole numbers. Whole numbers are 0 and positive numbers. Counting numbers. It's not. Counting numbers start at 1. 0 is a rational number. It doesn't repeat, it doesn't go on forever. It's just 0. So it's not an irrational number. And real numbers includes all of the other ones. So it's also a real number.